everyone, it's James, and today TFBTV goes to Hollywood. Well, not literally today, and I mean it's technically not literally Hollywood. Just if you shut up for a second, I'll explain. We went to Southern California and LA, Hollywood. That's whenever I filmed the How to Shoot Like John Wick special over at Terran Tactical. Went over there and hung out with our buddies from 511, and they brought us to Independent Studio Services. Independent Studio Services, also known as ISS. Many of you may know of ISS already from social media or other YouTube videos, or they did a book about it. Oh yeah, the Bible, where they call it the Kingdom of Heaven, because this place has more guns than probably anywhere in the world, and we'll talk more about that in the video. But we spent an entire day at ISS just talking to the man himself, Larry Zanoff. He's the guy who runs the show over there. Larry, super awesome dude. He did a podcast for TFB. We interviewed him. I'll drop that in the description so you can check it out because his resume is impressive, to say the least. But Larry gave us a tour, and we said we're going to come up with 5 videos. So what we tackle in this series, we do some top 5 lists. Today, for example, is going to be the top 5 most expensive Hollywood guns. Basically, the question I asked Larry was, which 5 guns in ISS's massive arsenal are worth the most money? He tells us in today's video, but stay tuned for the series. We're going to have 4 more videos. They're going to be guns from different TV shows and movies and other lists like this one. Anyways, I'm going to shut up now, guys. Let's go to Hollywood. Again, not literally, play the video. Hey everyone, James again with TFBTV, and I am here at ISS, Independent Studio Services. This is the biggest prop house in the entire world.
Definitely in Northern America. We probably are the biggest one in the world, but we haven't been everywhere in the world yet, so we aren't going to quite lay claim to that.
This is Larry Zanoff. He's from Hollywood Weapons, and he's also the guy, the man, the guru. We're in a vault, a very appealing vault, I might add. Wall-to-wall guns, but this actually represents a very, very small portion of the collection you guys have here at ISS.
It does. I mean, this is only one of our vaults, and the thing to remember too here, this is not a collection. It's a working inventory. People who are into firearms, they come in here and they think, oh, it's this great collection, just sits here on the wall, and it's so cool to have them just because we have them. No, every single thing that we have in this inventory is here for a reason. We've rented it on a show, or it's going to be rented on a show. Every single one of these earns their keep.
And you've got 16,000 guns here, is that right?
Little bit over 16,000.
16,000 guns, a whole ton of vaults, and one guy who's going to try to spend the night in here and see if he gets caught. But anyways, we're here to talk about the 5 most expensive guns here at ISS. Larry's going to walk me through it. Larry, let's start with number 5.
Thing to remember too about these guns when we're talking about value, it's not just an actual dollar value, like if I want to go out and buy one, it's because of what they've been through, they've added in values. We have one of the flintlocks that the Heath Ledger used on the Patriot. As it started out as just one of several flintlocks in the movie, it wasn't that expensive because it now has this kind of movie history attached to it. It's gone up in value. So I think that would be number 5 right there, would be the Heath Ledger musket from the Patriot.
How much would that musket cost if you just bought it, or how much is your average musket
I mean, the musket, just with no movie connection to it, probably about $1,000. Now with the film itself being a successful film, and of course Heath Ledger's history with that item, I couldn't even begin. You'd have to go to an auction house to figure out what those values are, but it's many, many times the original investment that we had.
Just by virtue of it being featured in this film and used by an actor that everybody's familiar with, that a fantastic actor who passed away, it then really propels the value into the stratosphere.
Absolutely. I mean, at that point, it becomes kind of like a collector's commodity. And how do you even monetize something like that? you know, I'll pay $1 million for it, and you've got $1.5 million, and you want it more than me, so now it's worth $1.5 million. It's really hard to estimate.
Right, virtually priceless in the sense that you can't really put a price on it.
Yeah, and priceless in the fact that you can't replace it. I could always get another exact musket like that, but it'll never be the one that Heath Ledger carried in the film. I think number 4 is a very iconic gun, very popular. It's actually on display at the National Firearms Museum right now. The silenced shotgun from No Country for Old Men. It was kind of like a breakthrough item when the movie first came out. A lot of people always remember that scene. It's a very unique scene whenever Anton Chigurh uses the gun, because we all expect a lot of noise coming out of a shotgun. And in fact, we see a shotgun and then there's no noise coming out of it. The base model itself, several $100s to buy the shotgun. The labor that we put into it to build the prop with the silencer attached to it, that was probably maybe 40, 50 hours worth of man hours. And then once it got the iconic status as the gun from the movie, the sky's the limit on that.
I'm going to interject here to say that we've been here at ISS, Independent Studio Services, shooting a series of videos on the guns that you guys have here. One thing that's been really neat walking through is, again, you mentioned the man hours and the time that you guys put into these guns. A lot of these guns, especially the really unique, iconic ones, you guys made them here.
Correct. Everything is done here in-house. We have a group of very artistic, creative people, be they gunsmiths or painters or whatever it may be. We hope to be on the ground level when you get a design element going with the production. And so we have a little bit of input, you know, on these props. And we do it in-house because of the creativity that we have within this building, as well as practical things like liability concerns and stuff like that. We have to know that what is being done is safe at all times. And the only way to do that is do it yourself.
And we're talking about now the shotgun from No Country for Old Men. As we talked about in a prior video, we did a video on the Dirty Harry gun, where sometimes, and as you said, it's a very organic process, where you just get a gun that becomes an icon.
Exactly. We never really know what's going to be picked as the iconic item from that film. And in fact, the next gun in line is the Dirty Harry gun as far as value goes. And so it's a standard Smith & Wesson revolver, but because of its attachment to a star like Clint Eastwood, not just in the Dirty Harry role, but in the whole volume of work that he's done throughout his lifetime, both as an actor and as a director-producer, it's got immense value to it.
And how many guns do you think we had on Dirty Harry? How many Smith & Wesson 629s or 29s?
Well, the original one, there was probably only 3 or 4, but as things progressed, of course, timelines progressed, the newer movies are more in our modern time of filmmaking. There was probably half a dozen or more of each hero gun that they needed. If you remember, at one point he loses his .44 Magnum revolver and switches over to the .44 Auto Mag, so then there were doubles of that. And of course you make rubbers of each and every one. So when you go out, you don't go out with one of anything, you go out with a bag full of tricks. And that's what hopefully gets you through the production.
Uniquity lends itself to value. If there was only one Dirty Harry gun, I can't imagine what that would be worth. But that said, it was so iconic and one of the first true icons of firearms cinema, for sure, that I think each and every one of those would be worth a whole lot of money. Now, what about our number 2?
So number 2, I think, is we have actually a pair, interestingly enough, number 2, we have a pair of Anderson Guncraft Gatling guns. Mr. Anderson, who we lost him recently, he passed away a few years ago. He made perfect reproductions of 1876 crank handle Gatling guns. We've used them in multiple films. So it's, as an item itself, it's very valuable because it's expensive. But then you add the film history that goes into it, being used in films like The Lone Ranger, Jonah Hex, 3:10 to Yuma, The Book of Eli. The more movies you use the same gun on, the more valuable it becomes. You'll never, ever have again another gun from Book of Eli.
Right,
you know, it's only that particular one was out there on set.
And not to mention, and the gentleman that you worked with passed away, and so he's not making any more.
When we
of
built
those,
the Firefly guns for, you know, Jim Bolin, he's passed away. So yeah, even if you duplicated that gun, it would never be a Jim Bolin made gun. I don't even want to think dollar numbers. We leave that stuff, again, we don't auction off our guns. They always stay in our inventory. But when it comes to movie memorabilia, other props and things, it's the auction houses that figure out what the going market value of these things are.
Larry, let's talk about concrete numbers. I know we've got, now there are some guns we're about to talk about that certainly have they've got some value that are associated with being in films, being in a lot of popular films. But dollar for dollar, if I just had to go to the store and buy one of these, as if I could, if I had to go out and purchase one of these, what's the most expensive gun you have?
Well, you wouldn't be able to go out and purchase this, but I think the most valuable item that we have here, and there's actually 4 of them, are our miniguns. They're very, very expensive. We're into 6 figures just for the gun itself, and then when you look at everything that goes along with it, the feed chutes and the electronics and the batteries, all of the different ammo boxes that go with it, and then on top of that, the ability to have people who have the knowledge to run that weapon system, dollar for dollar, you're getting more bang for your buck out of the miniguns than any other thing on a movie set. Even a 50 cal, if someone says, hey, I need a big belt fed, okay, we're going to give you an M60, let's say. Oh, we're out of M60s. You could do it with a 249. Yeah, we'll do it with a 249. That's replaceable. A minigun, you can't replace it with anything. It's the only one out there, like I said, biggest bang for the buck as far as an effect in movies. And did you see that, what I did there is gun guy humor, that'll bang for the buck.
But, let's say that I wanted to rent one of these for a movie or for a machine gun shoot or like a child's birthday party. What's that going to set me back, Larry?
We only rent to the industry. In other words, we don't rent to individuals. We're set up here as a prop house. We work for the movie industry. So it's not something that even if you had endless amount of monies, you'd be able to come in here and rent, from us. The range goes on the lower end. Certain handguns go for maybe $65 a week each. And then it goes all the way up to much more complicated weaponry where you're dealing in thousands of dollars a week. And that doesn't even factor in the manpower, the armor that has to go out along with the gun, because you got to pay the armorer too. Mm-hmm. I got 2 kids, I still got to get through college. So,
and so I guess what you're trying to tell me is that this isn't going to come with me on the company retreat this year.
Yeah, no. Definitely not. I don't see that in your future.
And Larry, you guys have 4 of these sitting around, and I mean, can you even begin to describe how many films they've been in? I mean, if I've seen a movie, an action movie, I've seen one of these, right? One of your miniguns.
There's very few miniguns, even within the movie industry, available to rent. We have 4 of them. Another gentleman has 4 of them, and another gentleman I know has 1 of them. So think of all the times that you've seen a minigun in a movie, be it, Battleship or any of the Transformers movies or the Predator movies and so on. These guns are being recycled again and again and again. So literally dozens and dozens of projects, if not at a certain point, hundreds.
If I'm playing a video game and it's got a minigun in it,
yeah, so, there's been a growing section of our industry as far as the entertainment industry goes, which is the video game franchises that are out there, all the Medals of Honor and Call of Duties, and the games are extremely competitive. So they get to the point where when you have your drop-down menu and you're selecting an AK-47 over an AR-15, let's say, it's really, really paramount that they sound correct. So the video games have kind of been clued into that. We've got a lot of veterans who are coming out of the military who have shot these guns before, and they're playing the games. And if they play the game and they go, man, that's not what an AK-47 sounds like, that game's out of there and they're going to go buy something else. So we've developed quite a kind of a following as far as sound recording, for putting into both the sound recording in post-production for movies, but especially for the video games. And most of the miniguns that you see in video games, it's the sound of our weapons in the background.
So not only are cinema goers becoming more sophisticated with what a weapon should look and sound like, but gamers are too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think with technology, when you look at technology, whether it's technology for like the gaming industry or filming technology, for making movies and everything, technology's purpose is to make our lives better. and to educate us a little bit more. And I think even younger kids that are playing these games, they're becoming more knowledgeable about firearms. They're becoming more knowledgeable about, aircraft and things like that. These are the aeronautical engineers of our future. These are the kids who are growing up and they're going to design the next round of, firearms or sporting goods or whatever it may be. So yeah, it definitely raises the bar every single time we come up with a new thing.
And I have to say, being here at ISS, being here at Burbank, and working with Larry over the past couple of days, I've heard other people say Larry is he's a living encyclopedia, and it's totally true. It's totally true because I've got to say I sprung this idea on you for this video a couple of hours ago, and you just put together a fantastic list. Anybody could have just said, "Hey, let's get the inventory sheet and let's get the top 5 dollar for dollar." But we're talking about guns with sentimental value, guns that are icons of cinema, and guns that are just plain cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've always believed that, if you're passionate or you've dedicated your life to a specific item, which everybody here in this building has, everyone's here because they're passionate about what we do in assisting production companies to make films. If it's not just something you do, it's who you are, it's in your blood, then you should be able to talk about stuff like this, at the drop of a hat. I can't talk about cars, but there are car people out there who can do it. I can't talk about paintings, but there are painting people who can do it. Well, our little thing here in the weapons department is firearms, and we take pride in that fact as far as the knowledge and the experience and what we are able to bring to the table for a production. Or, like I said, in the real world when we're dealing with training military and training law enforcement and so on. And that's what makes Independent Studio Services a very unique place.
Well, I don't doubt that the expertise, the attention to detail, and really the imagination here. I mean, this is like Disney Studios, for me, if you're
Absolutely.
a gun guy. I think all of that's going to translate really well into this TFBTV series. Guys, this is going to be in a playlist. Make sure to go check out all the rest of the videos. We are totally not worthy to be here. Larry, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Guys, check out the series.